Greetings, my fine arts students and directors, instructors, technicians, all of you guys involved with the fine arts. This is Mike with SoundstageEDU, and we are doing an episode for our Drumline friends. Drumline students, I hope you're listening. If you don't know, or if you're not in the Drumline, listen anyway. This applies. And if you know a Drumline kid, point them in our direction. This will be good for them. Not to mention, we just talk about a lot of cool stuff here that's going to be helpful for them in the long run. Because it's not just the 4 years in band and drumline or in the theater that matter. It's who you become on this journey that will shape who you are for the rest of your life. So we're going to talk about our drumline mentality, culture, patience, the power of doing simple stuff well. Might be a good title for it right there. We'll remember that. So here's the deal. You know a little bit about me. You know, I was in drum corps. You know, I was in marching band. You know, I was in college marching band. You know, I've taught marching bands and taught drum lines and even taught collegiate level drum lines. I've even taught some WGI championship drum lines back in the day. But one thing I always noticed from all the people around us is that there was this one consistent thread through all of those programs, all of those locales, all of those age groups. And it was this: drumline guys are trouble. I even experienced that as a kid myself. You would hear it. Drumline guys are trouble. I moved when I was a senior in high school. I moved from Florida to Oklahoma. And that was the prevailing sentiment. Drumline guys are trouble. I even had a girl who was in the color guard come up to me and lead with that. Hey, new guy, are you trouble like the rest of the drumline? I honestly don't know what I said to her. Knowing me, I probably just looked away terrified because I didn't do well with spontaneous interactions. But in my head, what I would have liked to say was, well, yes, ma'am, you are absolutely correct. We are trouble. Because I knew better. I knew we were. And, you know, just side note, she is still one of my very best friends to this day. I talk to her often, but she was one of the first people that approached me when I moved to Oklahoma. And she led with the caution of what everyone had told her, that drumline guys are trouble. And I was a new guy, and maybe I'd be a little different because I come from another part of the country, but I wasn't. We are trouble. And I don't know where that reputation comes from. I don't know what precipitates it. I don't know what causes it to grow in us, but it is what it is. But I also believe that's something that we can change, that we can modify, that we can do better at. I mean, we know what the reputation is. You've heard it. They're the cocky ones, the loud ones, the troublemakers. And sometimes it's even said with a wink or a laugh, but let's be real. It sticks. It can be a joke, but it sticks. It sticks long term. And if we don't fix that culture, it's going to stick to your program like glue. And guess what? Every year, when the year starts over, you have the opportunity to change that. It's a clean slate. You get to start all over. I love drumline. It's my passion. It shaped me as a person. But I'll be the first to tell you, we need to level up, not just in chops, not just in flashy licks or stick visuals, which I don't like, but in culture, in patience, and doing the simple things with relentless excellence. That's where the real growth is. I mean, I saw in the drumline instructors group some guy talking about how playing eighth notes clean and excellent and matching stick heights is better than any sloppy, fancy lick that you could come up with. And I agree with him. I hear plenty of ensembles now, plenty of drum lines now that can't even play the eighth notes clean. And it blows my mind. And they all look different. They have poor posture. Their marching is, it's terrible. There's so much that can be done. And to come in and say, oh, I'm bored with the book, which is something I hear. I mean, unless you're doing all those things excellent, you can't even begin to tell me that you're bored because you have a lot to work on. So doing the simple things with relentless excellence, that's where the real growth is going to be. So let's start with culture. Culture is everything. Drumline should be the heartbeat of the band, not the problem child. And it's not just because we carry the groove or we play a rhythm or that we're a literal heartbeat. I mean, I was part of a group that used to use an undertone heartbeat within the bass line throughout most of some of their shows. We were known for it. The heartbeat. It's real. You're the heartbeat of the band. Don't be the problem child by being arrogant and loud and cocky like they think you are. Be the respectful musical part of the group that no one expects you to be. That's where your culture can start. That's where things can change. The culture of you guys, of the line, sets the tone. If the line is lazy, late, or arrogant, it poisons the rest of the ensemble. But if you guys show up on time, ready, excited, and with discipline and grit, my gosh, people are going to follow you. You're one of the biggest and noisiest sections in the band. I don't care how small or how big the band is. There's something about the drum line that just garners attention by its sheer mass and size. Even if it's a small drum line, it still has presence. People hear it. It's like a siren call marching down the street. So the band is going to look to you guys. The band is going to take cues from your behavior, from your discipline, from your rehearsal etiquette. It has the power to shape everything that goes on. So if you're lazy, late, or arrogant, guess what? The rest of your ensemble, the rest of your band is going to be lazy, late, and potentially arrogant. And there's nothing worse than having an arrogant marching ensemble. That sucks. I didn't want to say that, but substandard group that's lazy and arrogant. I mean, that's just, ugh. I can't stand that. And I see a lot of that. And that's because I feel like we as directors and instructors fear or have an issue with stepping up, saying the hard things, having the hard conversations with the kids and telling you guys that, hey, you need to do better. So I'm going to do it. Sound fair? So we just talked about the tone of your culture, lazy, late, and arrogant. Let's flip it. Disciplined, humble, laser focus, that attitude spreads too. If you guys come in standing at attention, not saying a word, not pecking on your drums, and just ready to receive instruction and just locked in, guess what? The band's going to see that and they're going, holy crap, look at them. Wow, I want to be like them. You guys move the same, act the same, have the same culture, same discipline. That is freaking infectious. And they're going to follow right along with you guys. I've been a part of many drum lines and many ensembles where each section has their own rituals and things. Do that. It helps you to unify. It helps you become more cohesive. But here's the thing. You don't get to be the heartbeat and the headache at the same time. Let's change it to the director telling the band to watch the drumline kids, to see what they do. And this time, because they want you to be an example, not a joke. Hey guys, check out the drumline kids. Check out the drumline. Look at their discipline. Look at their etiquette. Look at their behavior. I want you guys to be more like that. I don't want it to be, hey guys, look at the drumline. That's not what you do. You get it? I don't want them looking at you guys and saying, now guys, don't do that. I want them to look at you guys and say, hey guys, do that. So make that a reality in your program. So I want to share a story that I came across today on a Facebook group for drumline instructors. It's a tips and tricks group for young instructors looking for help from us older salty dogs like me. And it was essentially, my snare drummers are bored. Should I rewrite the parts? And my thought, no, absolutely not. You're not bored because the music is too easy. You're bored because you're not good enough yet. Was that harsh? I think it was harsh. It was harsh, and I don't care. You're bored because you're not good enough yet. That is a huge difference. That's something that needs to be differentiated. This is something that needs to be understood by these ensembles. You're not bored because it's easy. You're bored because you suck. Yeah, I'm being harsh. Drumline is my thing. I can be hard on you guys. You ask any of my old Drumline kids and ask them how hard I was on them. And then ask them, what does it mean to you today? I've got stories for days about how these kids' lives were changed because I was kind of a jerk. And it's okay. It works. It may be controversial, and I don't care. That this is how I do things. And you have the option to not invite me to your program. I mean, makes no difference to me. There's plenty of people that would be happy to have someone that's going to straighten up the kids. Because I know you don't always want to do it. I get that. I sometimes don't want to straighten up my own kids. I'd rather have someone else do it. It's that outside perspective that really helps. But yeah, you're not bored because you're not bored because it's easy. You're bored because you're not good enough yet. I'm even laughing at my own harshness here. It's been a long day, guys. I'm tired, but I feel like I really needed to get this out, and that's what we're going to do today. So along with the same post, the guy was talking about how he writes the parts to be cohesive. That each section interacts with the other and interacts with the rest of the entire ensemble, from sideline to sideline and sideline, end zone to end zone, sideline to sideline. That's what I was trying to say. Cohesive writing matters. The battery is one voice. You don't go and blow up the arrangement for one ego or for one section's ego even. And even if it's your entire snare line that's saying, this is so boring, if they're not absolutely freaking spotless, 0 ticks, all stick heights matching, everything is perfect, you're not bored. You're not good enough. You have plenty to refine and you need to freaking do it. So you don't blow up the arrangement for one ego. You go back and you clean. And once it's perfect, which I guarantee you it never will be, then you can start to change. I'll just say this, because some kid's going to come on here and land in my comments and say, well, DCI groups change the parts all the time. Well, yeah, hey, guess what, dude? Bruh, you ain't DCI. You're not at that level. And even at that level, I was still just this hard. Yeah, I changed things, and when I changed things, I expected it to come back perfect the next day. That's how it works. And you know what? Cleanliness is far better than difficulty. Playing hard music poorly doesn't make you advanced. It makes you loud and sloppy. And that's going to be a tagline. I should put it on a t-shirt and wear it to all my clinics. Playing hard music poorly doesn't make you advanced. It makes you loud and sloppy. And judges, oh my gosh, they hate that. When you botch a roll. I remember one time taking a drink. I was a senior in high school. I don't know. Junior or senior. And I went to a drum corps audition, and I dragged one of my classmates, another fellow snare drummer at the time. I stepped back to snare drum in high school because my back hurt, and snare drum is easy. I mean, you know what? Sometimes playing the uni drum is nice. So we dragged snare drums halfway across the country to a drum corps audition. He thought this was the coolest thing he'd ever done. He's on a road trip with his buddy, away from mom and dad. We had our own money. We were in my mom's big old car. And we were going to go play drums. Cool. Let's go audition. And there were probably 30 freaking snare drummers in this band room. I mean, it was a cacophony of sound. It was a nasty mess. Because it was auditions, man. It was November, December, something. It was, it was when auditions happened. I don't remember. We're talking 30 years ago or more. Anywho, we were already working on music. Most of the book had already been written, and we're just running parts, and they're building the line this way. It wasn't like one-on-one auditions. It was just a group thing, and they're going to find the group that works. That's how this particular group did it, and I liked it that way. So I am within a couple hours of being there, literally right next to the center snare line. Center of the snare line. Wow. Sorry, guys. I was right next to the center player. So I was good, I guess. And I was locked in. I was very focused. I'd done this before, so I knew what it took. And my friend got cut pretty early on. But he hung out with us and he was watching, and that's when and at some point during the weekend, he decided I should go play in the pit, which he did. And he ended up playing in the pit, and he also went up to one of the top groups later on down the road, a couple of years later, and won world championships in the pit of that group. So anywho, all was not lost. He couldn't cut it as a snare drummer. But he did make the comment, because we were on the snare line together in high school. He makes the comment, it's like, man, when 30 people botch a roll, my God, you guys botch a roll. Those aren't the words he used. The words he used were more colorful. I will be honest and tell you guys that drum corps and Drumline are a filthy, vulgar place. And we have horrible mouths. And if you guys go do drum corps and you come back, control your mouth. Okay? When you come back from that, control your mouth. We don't need you coming back talking like sailors to us. We're not impressed by it. We did it, but we're not impressed by it. So please don't do it. It makes us uncomfortable as your adults, you know. We got to have some modicum of professionalism around us, so control the mouse a little bit when you come back from drum corps. But it was a roll. Rolls aren't hard. But I tell you what, we botched it and it was loud and sloppy. That's all it was. Wasn't cool. So what does bored really mean? It means not digging into the details. Those things I mentioned, stick heights, timing consistency, blending with the bass line, blending with the tenors, backing up the horns, blending with the front ensemble. Blend, 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 blend. That's where it really starts to change. When you're playing on a snare line of like, say, 9 people, so core size snare line, and you realize that everyone has matching stick heights. I mean, have you ever looked at a drum corps snare line and been like, oh my gosh, their stick heights are exact. They're perfect. And then you hear a tick. You hear that one gray out, and you can see it. You can see those moments when someone fuzzes out because their stick heights don't match. Those kind of details. That leads into the timing consistency as well. You hear those timing duts that you hear drumline to, and they're like kind of annoying. If those aren't together, your attack's not going to be together either. Those need to be approached with the same discipline as an attack note or any note, an inner note, a downbeat, upbeat. They all need to be aligned. Details. So again, you're not bored. You have work to do. And it's not me knocking your skill level. I'm not saying that you can't play that inverted cheese paradiddle. Maybe you can. I mean, how many of you guys run across those rudimental snare drummers that are online showing off and doing all kinds of hard stuff? I see those guys too. They got all the stick tricks and all that. I freaking hate that. Here's why. A guy like me with my level of experience can hear all the timing inconsistencies on all of their inner notes. I can hear inconsistencies in their grip. Yes, in their grip. I can hear that. Because they're so focused on looking cool and playing the hardest thing possible that they can't even do it well. And I always challenge them. And you'll see other people challenge them too and say, that's sloppy, that's, stop the stick tricks, whatever. But here's the thing. Let's take that same rhythmic passage and see them play it with another person. And I guarantee you that person is going to blame the other person. That influencer is going to blame the other person, even if the other person does it well. Because they can't be wrong. And let me tell you something, guys. That kind of mentality, that kind of culture within your line is freaking toxic. It's cancer, and it's going to be hard to eliminate. So start working on it now. Vet it out now. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't help you. It just makes things worse. So the mentality. It's in the title, right? That's what we're going to call it. The drumline mentality. Patience. Patience. My young Padawans, patience. I used that the other day with my kid and she rolled her eyes. Hey, young Padawan. And the other kid laughed. So it hit someone just right. And that's okay. I'm a dad. I make jokes and oftentimes they fall flat because dad jokes are dumb. And I get that. And I'm going to keep telling him, don't care, you can't stop me. So patience. Great drumming is about reps, not rewrites. Listen, you don't earn new notes until you master the old ones. And by master them, I mean they are absolutely perfect. Rep after rep after rep. Excellence in the boring stuff. Strokes, doubles, flams, roll consistency. Boring is what separates a hack from a world-class player. Has your director ever used that term? Stop hacking. Because there's always some drummer on the drum line touching their instrument, playing ancillary notes that don't need to be played. You're going between sets and they're playing crap. Stop hacking. Stop pecking. Boring is what separates a hack from a world-class player. Remember that. Unity. A clean line is worth more than one superstar. I don't care if you had a kid on your line that made the Mandarins, the Boston Crusaders. Okay, so you have a phenom like me on your line, and when they're a sophomore, their sophomore summer, they join a DCI world-class drumline, and they come back with all the chops in the world. Guess what? They're the strongest link, but you're only as good as your weakest link. A clean line is worth more than one superstar. Lean on that strong link for insight into cleanliness, because he knows at that point, or she. The crowd doesn't care what you played. They don't care if you're out there playing cheese, cheddar, whatevers. They only care what we sound like. Not a hot mess. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And then to round up the mentality is leadership. The line leads the band, not just in tempo, but in culture. Show the woodwinds and brass what discipline looks like. And why am I saying that about the drumline? Why does the drumline have to lead out the discipline? Because that's what I know, and that's what I saw it come from. Because we are the biggest and the loudest, and we demand the most attention, or command the most attention, because of our sheer size and volume. And because of that, the band will listen. So that's why we lead by default. So moving on from there, we need to close the gap between the drumline and the band, because you guys do act different. You act as your separate entities. I've heard it many times. You know, there'd be no band without the drumline. Well, guess what? There'd be no drumline without the band. It goes both ways. So let's close that gap. Band kids see the line as cocky because the line acts cocky. Because it acts arrogant. Change it. You choose to act that way, so change it. Find a way to change it. And here's a big one, guys. Learn to respect the whole ensemble. You're not just drumming for yourselves. That comes in the wintertime when you do a winter drumline. Right now, in the marching band, you're the foundation of the entire show. You set the tone. Invite your wins into warm-ups. Take pride in being approachable, not isolated. If today's drumlines, and the ones I'm in charge of, are anything like when I was in the past, the drumline will start warming up an hour before the rest of the band. Invite some of those kids into it. You see those in the lot videos on DCI shows? That's real. There's real fandom there. And it starts in high school. So be that group. Be that group that has the fun, excellent warm-up that people want to come see, that people want to stand in a circle around you guys in the parking lot when you're warming up. Invite your wins into that. Let them be a part of your group. Don't isolate them. Let them be part of the experience. Your drum line can either be a wall between sections or the bridge that unites them. So choose to be the bridge. So one of my last years, this is a long time ago, where I was full-time involved with a drumline in a band. The show, what was it? Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I think. Something like that. Old rock, basically. All right, rah-rah show. It was cool. And I wrote really busy, really exciting parts. I mean, it could have been its own indoor show without the winds. And I just said include them. I mean, listen, we had to support where we were lacking on the field and in the winds. So that's what I did. I had a huge percussion group because I'd spent some time there growing it, and this is what happens. I had like 40 kids in percussion. So I had a huge pit and huge drumline. And I remember one time warming up on a sideline for a football game, an inner city football game of all things. So, I mean, nobody cared about the bands. The other band was no good either, but we were there on the track, whole pit, whole drumline, warming up for the show. And we just started running whole sections of the book. They were so hype from it. I'll never forget it. The feeling was unbelievable. They were so into this warm-up. I mean, you could just tell the show was going to be freaking excellent. And I'm conducting, and I'm excited with them too. Eyes are closed. I mean, just freaking locked in. Clean everything. Powerful attacks, powerful impacts. I mean, just phenomenal. And I look up, and there were at least 100 other people on the track with us, surrounding us, and it wasn't even our band. We had fans from our stands, fans from the opponent's stands, just because of the energy we brought. That's what you need to do. That kind of energy. Am I saying you're going to have moments like that? Probably not. I'm not going to say that. But what I am saying is you have that kind of power. You have that kind of draw with your group. So why not lean into it, you know? So here's what I'm going to say. Wrap this thing up. This has been long. We're at 28 minutes. Maybe a little less with some edits. But students, man, don't whine about your parts. Don't. Do the boring things until they're beautiful. If parts need to be changed, your instructor or your arranger is going to be like, well, that sucks. I'm going to change that. Let that happen. But don't step in and act like you know better. You're in high school. You don't. Give them the respect of the position that they hold. And listen. Do the boring parts until they're beautiful. And instructors, drumline techs, caption heads, protect the culture with your life. Say no to ego and say yes to excellence. And directors, don't let the line become a running joke. Make them the pride of the program. Lift them up. Support them. Encourage your instructors and technicians and your consultants that come along. Encourage your section leaders. Raise excellent leaders within your drumline, and the rest will follow. Because drumline isn't just about chops. It's about who we are and what standard we set for everyone else. The heartbeat of the band has to be the healthiest part of the body. And that part starts with patience, with culture, and with doing the simple things better than anyone else on the field. I had an old student come into my life again recently, and he saw the podcast and he saw the groups I was working with, And he was like, oh man, someone's coming out of retirement. This is amazing. The goat is back. I can't wait to see what you do. You better start working on your chops. You got them old man chops. You're going to have to come back and get it together. And I'm like, look, brother, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be able to play like I used to. I am almost 50 years old. I am not some 18-year-old kid anymore. I don't need to impress anybody. I'm not here to do that. What I'm bringing is culture and standard and understanding. And he was like, whoa, man, you're still the same. I love it. I'm like, yeah, I'm the same. And I'm better. I've grown up. As hard as that is to believe, I have grown up. So, thanks, guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for letting me rant. Thanks for giving me a space to give you a space to reflect. In Drumline, yes, you can still be loud. You can still be fun, but let's not be the punchline anymore. Let's be that group that the band comes out and sees you guys already on the field or wherever you practice, already standing at attention, not making a freaking sound. Still, eyes locked in, not looking around, not making eye contact with anybody. They're walking on there looking at you and you're standing there like a freaking royal palace guard. You know, like the ones in London. Anywho, be like that. Be that Drumline. That, forgive my language, is badass. That's what you want. You don't want to be the okay Drumline down the street. You want to be that badass Drumline. So let's work for that. You can all do it. And there's room for all of you to be that in your own space. You don't have to compete with one another. Compete with yourselves. Be better today than you were yesterday. So thanks once again for joining me. I am Mike. This is SoundstageEDU. And we just had a podcast talking about the drumline mentality. So with all of that in mind, be good to one another. Be good to yourselves. And let's raise the bar together.